What's up, Bears fans? Harrison Graham here for Chicago Bears Now. I'm at my home today. Got a day off, got tomorrow off, and then, of course, the game on Sunday. And if you're fired up for Bears versus Texans, go ahead and subscribe to the channel because we will be live on Friday, 15 minutes before kickoff, 12:45 Eastern, 11:45 a.m. Central Time, with, of course, kickoff at noon Central. So subscribe, turn on those notifications, and join us for a live watch party. We'll break down all the action for you guys. All right, reason we're here on a Friday from home, injury report time. 3 players have already been ruled out. 2 key players are questionable, and then Velus Jones Jr. is doubtful. He was limited again with the hamstring. We'll get that one out of the way. Doubtful. He was listed doubtful last week. We'll see. Typically today, if you're doubtful, 10% chance you'll play. So I would not expect him to make his debut. So we'll get that one out of the way. Let's talk about the players who are out real quick, and then we'll get to the big ones. 2 key players that are questionable. 3 players that are out. Linebacker Matt Adams, he's been ruled out. Defensive back, special teams guy, Dane Cruikshank, out. Adams and Cruikshank both dealing with hamstring injuries. And then Ryan Griffin dealing with an Achilles injury. You don't want to mess with that. Don't want to tear it. The tight end, he is out. And I think that's an underrated one because he's used a decent amount in the offense, especially in those 12 personnel situations. He has been ruled out. So no Matt Adams, no Dane Cruikshank, and no Ryan Griffin. Adams and Griffin, 2 players that play a decent amount. Cruikshank, a good special teams guy, so their losses will likely be felt at least a little bit. We'll talk about guys who could step up in their guys' places, but let's talk about the 2 questionable players listed as questionable. Jaylon Johnson did not practice today. Limited yesterday, did not practice today. He is listed as questionable. Matt Eberflus did say his injury did occur in practice this week. So that is notable. Also, Roquan Smith did not practice all week. He is questionable as well. We'll see. You start with Roquan here. Obviously, if he can't go, you're down 2 of your top 3 linebackers with Matt Adams already out. If Roquan's out as well, that leaves you Nick Morrow and Jack Sanborn. I mean, I don't know. That's not a great situation if you are the Chicago Bears. Now, Matt Eberflus said they're working on different combinations. If Roquan can't go, they're going to look at all of that. But obviously, you're already going to miss Roquan if he can't play. But more than that, your depth is really being tested. I mean, the only other linebackers on the roster that are healthy are Nicholas Morrow, Jack Sanborn, Sterling Weatherford, who you picked up off waivers, and that's it. I mean, that's kind of what you're talking about here. So I would expect to see a lot of nickel regardless on Sunday, even more than normal, but obviously not an ideal situation. Flus did say he feels like Sanborn is ready for the opportunity if his number is called upon, so we'll see. I know the Sanborn Hive would like to see him get some playing time anyway. I'm not opposed to it, but your linebacker depth really getting tested today. Before we talk about cornerback, give me your score predictions for this matchup, considering, guys may not be able to play. Bears, Texans, who do you got winning, and what is the final score going to be? I picked the Bears 20-16. I'm a little hesitant, but they're at home. I still think the Bears could get it done, but if Jaylon Johnson and Roquan are out, that might make me rethink things. Let me know what you guys think. I'll take the Bears 20-16. Drop your score predictions down in the comments. All right, let's talk about corner now. So Jaylon Johnson, quad injury. Something happened in practice, Flus said. So his status up in the air. Let's say he can't go. You got Kyler Gordon. He's got to play better. I already expect the Texans to target him. But if Johnson's not out there, you really need Gordon to step up and play at a much better level. Obviously, that would mean an increased workload for Kindle Vildor, who's kind of been that third corner so far this season. The only other options you even have on the roster, Lamar Jackson, who had a decent camp, okay in the preseason. He could be available. Jaylon Jones, who's really more of a nickel. Maybe he could come in and play some nickel with Gordon playing strictly outside if Jaylon Johnson weren't going to be able to play. Josh Blackwell, who you picked up after roster cuts as well, and that's kind of it. DeAndre Houston-Carson's a guy who's played some nickel in the past. Maybe he could play nickel this week, and then Gordon and Vilder could play the outside. I don't hate that possibility there. DHC isn't really an every down guy. He hasn't been that in his career, but you got to get creative here. I mean, this is the NFL. It's a battle of attrition, and with some guys already out and potentially Jaylon Johnson out as well, corner and linebacker, those are two positions to keep an eye on this week. Luckily, you're going up against a Houston Texans team that has Brandon Cooks, a good player. Nico Collins is capable, but not the most explosive offense in the NFL. But we know the Bears have had trouble stopping the run, and if Roquan can't go, that's going to be even more of a challenge this week. Dameon Pierce, I expect to be a focal point of the Texans offense. So some injury notes to get to here for the Chicago Bears. Just type H if you hate injuries. No one likes injuries. They're not fun. You want to see the best players out there, but so type H. Same time, you just got to deal with these things. This is just how it goes in the National Football League. All right, couple other thoughts as we progress forward here. Some things that I would like to see before or during this game. Obviously, these injuries could throw a wrench into things. Eberflus was not asked about Lucas Patrick, but Lucas Patrick is not on the injury report, obviously, but he hasn't been. Will he play center? I hope so. I think if he plays center, Tevin Jenkins is your every down right guard. I think that really gives you the best chance at success right now. I've actually been pretty pleased with the offensive line so far, but clearly Sam Mustipher is a weakness at center. He's not horrible, but I think we know at this point that he's not in every game starting center. I think he's valuable as a backup. He's got enough experience now where he's worth keeping around, but he's not a starting center in this league. Larry Borum's been up and down at right tackle. I'm okay with him still being in there for now, but if you can get Patrick back in there at center and go Braxton Jones, Cody Whitehair, Patrick at center, Tevin Jenkins at right guard, and then Borum for now at right tackle, I think that's more than serviceable. I think the offensive line so far, when you try to break down why the offense and the passing offense in particular hasn't taken off, I don't think the offensive line is the first, second, or even third reason. I think it's a combination of, Justin Fields not progressing quick enough, not pulling the trigger, the wide receivers at times not making plays, not making separation, and I think Getsy has to dial up better plans, but I've been okay with the O-line so far. And if Patrick gets back and can play center, that would be massive because that's what you brought him in here to do. I like what I've seen from Jenkins at right guard. I want to see him be the full-time right guard. I think he's earned that, and getting Patrick back at center would be monumental for Chicago as well. Some things I want to see from the offense this week. Number one, yes, we want to see Justin Fields throw the football more, but if the run game's working, keep running David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert. If you keep staying ahead of the chains, getting 4, 5, 6 yards on first down and getting into second and third and manageable, obviously you would like to never get to third down, but I don't think this offense is there yet where they're going to get 12 plays on first down every time and avoid third down situations. What you need to avoid as often as possible is 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 12. I feel like this team's been living in 3rd and long, which is why the Bears' third down offense, I think, is converting 14% of the time. Not nearly good enough. So win on first down, run the football, and in turn, you're going to throw the football more because eventually teams are going to put an extra body in the box, and you're going to be able to throw over the top of them. So get Monty going, get Herbert going, and then also when you do throw the football, especially early on, get Fields some easy completions. Let's get this guy into a rhythm. He's such a rhythm quarterback. When he gets into a rhythm like we saw against Pittsburgh in the second half last year, at times against the 49ers last year, in that third preseason game this year against the Browns, when he hits a couple, you feel like he can hit 10 in a row, but we just haven't been able to see that rhythm, mostly because the first game was in a monsoon, and then in the second game, he just pre-snap penalties, all these 3-and-outs pile up, and all of a sudden you look up and it's 24-7 in the third quarter. Like, you've got to get this quarterback into a rhythm, and Fields has got to pull the trigger. There were a few times last week where he had the opportunity to throw the football and he did not. He either took a sack or or took off or whatever the case may be. I want him to use his legs, of course, but if the throw is there to be made and he sees it, you got to throw it. You've got to throw the football. So hopefully he is willing to take some chances in this game, and that the Bears offense looks a little bit more smooth in this one, because to be honest, it has not exactly looked smooth so far. All right. Appreciate you guys tuning in on a Friday. Again, just to kind of circle back to the injury report. 6 players on it. Roquan Smith, Jaylon Johnson, both questionable. Neither practiced today. We'll keep an eye on that. Velus Jones Jr. was limited the past 2 days, but he is still listed as doubtful. And then tight end Ryan Griffin, he is out with an Achilles injury. Dane Cruikshank is also out with a hamstring. And then Matt Adams, who's also dealing with a hamstring injury, has been ruled out. There you have it. That's it. The only question mark beyond that on the injury front is Lucas Patrick comfortable enough to play center this week? Prayers up. I hope he is. We will see what happens. All right. Like I said, hit that subscribe button. We'll have a mailbag video that goes out tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And then we'll have our live watch party and postgame show on Sunday. Kickoff noon Central will be live 15 minutes before then. All right, appreciate everybody tuning in. You can follow me on social media at HGramNFL, both on Twitter and Instagram. Like I said, hit that sub button. We'll see you soon. Bear down.